Hello, everybody. Welcome to another unit of Principles of Management. That is Unit 8, Motivation. This module will help us to understand. This module will help us to understand the meaning of motivation, need hierarchy theory. We'll also understand theory X and Y. We'll focus on contemporary theories of motivation, and last, motivation tools. Here we go, friends. Let's understand first what is the meaning of motivation. If I have to ask you the meaning of motivation, what comes to your mind? Few of us get motivated by money. Few of us get motivated by watching movie. Few of us get motivated by recognition. So can I say every individual has different motivation factor? So can I say there is a common myth about motivation, that motivation as a personal trait, that is some have it and others don't have it? Motivation is the result of interaction of individual and the situation. So if I have to, summarize the motivation meaning or definition, can I say motivation is the process that accounts for an individual intensity, directions, and persistence of effort towards attaining the goal? Do you agree with me? So can I say motivation means to move? It includes three common characteristics. First, it concerns with what activate human behavior. It involves what direct this behavior towards a particular goal. And the thirdly, motivation concerns how this behavior is sustained. Right? So now we will go further. What are the different factors that motivate an individual? As we discussed, that every person has a different different motivating factor. Here we will discuss what are the different factors that can motivate individual. First is a person who gets a job security, he feels more motivated. Sympathetic help with a personal problem. If somebody helps you in a problem and sympathetic is suggests a sympathy, you also get motivated. A personal loyalty to an employee, if you get something as a personal loyalty, and the work of your interest, if you do, you don't have to work for a life, it motivates. And if you get a good working condition, a tactful discipline, if you get a good remuneration or the wages, you get motivated. Promotions and growth in the organization also motivates you. Feeling of being in one on thing, that also gives a lot of motivation to few of us. And full appreciation of work done, that also motivate. इसीलिए कहते हैं कि पैसा ही हर व्यक्ति को मोटिवेट नहीं करता, और इसीलिए लोग शायद कहते हैं कि पैसा खुदा तो नहीं, पर पैसा खुदा से कम भी नहीं. Okay, so here we go for early theories of motivation. We'll discuss different theories of motivation. The first theory, which is a very popular theory, which is we call as Maslow's hierarchy of need theory. I'm sure you must have heard earlier also Maslow's hierarchy theory of need. What Maslow says, every person, he suggests, a human being have wants and desire which influence their behavior. And these wants are unlimited. Needs are limited. Now, if I have to categorize the needs, it starts first with psychological need. That very important need, the basic need, the foundation stone of this triangle is the psychological need. When I say psychological need, like hunger, thirst, shelter, sex, and other need of the body need are something which are psychological need, which is required for every person. It's a basic need of a person, right? After person has fulfilled the psychological need, it goes to the safety need, that is second peripheral of the triangle. From bottom, if I say the second triangle, second peripheral is the safety. After a person has fulfilled the psychological need, it goes for the safety need, like protection, physical and emotional harm, those need. And from safety need, he goes to the third peripheral of the triangle, that is the social need. If he has fulfilled psychological need, he goes for safety need. If safety is fulfilled, he goes for the social. That include affection, belongingness, acceptance, and friendship, etc. And after this social need, if you have something, you go to the next level, and that is a self-esteem need. That includes internal esteem factors such as self-respect, autonomy, achievement, external esteem factors such as status, recognitions, and attention. So from psychological, individual goes to the safety. Once his safety need is fulfilled, he goes to the social need. Once social need is fulfilled, he goes to the self-esteem. And from esteem need, he further goes to the peak of the triangle, that is self-actualization. The topmost of this triangle is self-actualization. When I say self-actualization, the drive to become what one is capable of becoming. That means the growth, achieving potential, self-fulfillment, etc. So this is something which is called as Maslow's hierarchy of need theory. From this theory, we will go to the next theory, that is theory X and Y. Now here theory X and Y is also known as Douglas McGregor theory. When I say Douglas McGregor theory, it is also known as theory X and Y theory. Douglas McGregor argued that the manager's view on the nature of human being is based on the certain grouping of assumption, and hence he or she tends to mold his own behavior towards employee according to this assumption. Right? So first theory is X, which we are going to discuss now. Here we say in this theory that the management always assumes that employees are lazy and will avoid work as long as they possible. So workers need to be closely supervised, and the comprehensive system of control and hierarchical structure is needed to supervise them. Right? So this is what the theory X is all about. And now we will go to theory Y. What is this theory Y? Here it is exactly opposite of theory X. Theory Y, in this theory of management, assumes employee may be ambitious. Here the employees are very ambitious. They are self-motivated, anxious to accept greater responsibility, and they exercise the self-control, self-direction, autonomy, and empowerment. So here there is a chance of greater productivity. In compared to theory X, if you see in theory Y, the chances of productivity is higher by giving employees the freedom to work and their ability. So from this theory X and Y, it is clear that theory X assumes the lower order need of dominated individually, and theory Y assumes the higher order need dominate individual. Right? So now we will go to the next theory, that is Herzberg two-factor theory. It's a very common theory which is used, like Herzberg in 1959 constructed a two-dimensional paradigm of factor affecting people's attitude about the work. And these two factors is categorized as hygiene factor and the motivating factor. Herzberg says these are the two factors which motivate an employee. That is, one is hygiene factor and motivation factor. And this both is called as motivation hygiene theory. Now when I say motivator factor, motivators are the intrinsic factors such as advancement, recognition in form of cash or kind, responsibility given to them, some achievement award. Presence of this factor always ensures the job satisfaction is there. An extrinsic factor such as company policy, supervision, interpersonal relation, working environment and salary are the hygiene factor. So एक मोटिवेशन फैक्टर और हाइजीन फैक्टर दोनों का समावेश को हम कहते हैं मोटिवेटिंग हाइजीन फैक्टर. यहाँ पर हम ये एज्यूम करते हैं कि एक एम्प्लॉय को मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर और हाइजीन फैक्टर दोनों दिया जाए। अगर समराइज करते हैं, हाइजीन फैक्टर की अगर बात करें तो जैसे हाइजीन फैक्टर में आ जाते हैं सुपरवाइजन, कंपनी की अपनी पॉलिसीज़, जो उनके वर्किंग एनवायरनमेंट रहता है, उनकी सैलरीज और उनके इंटरपर्सनल रिलेशनशिप और सिक्योरिटी, ये हाइजीन फैक्टर में आते हैं। मोटिवेशन फैक्टर में आते हैं अचीवमेंट, रिकग्निशन, वर्क इट, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, ग्रोथ एंड एडवांसमेंट, चैलेंजिंग जॉब। अब ये दोनों का अगर कंक्लूजन निकाला जाए तो कैन आई से द एब्सेंस ऑफ हाइजीन फैक्टर, अगर हाइजीन फैक्टर नहीं रहे, कैन क्रिएट अ जॉब डिससेटिस्फैक्शन, बट द प्रेजेंस डज नॉट मोटिवेट। ये अगर हाइजीन फैक्टर नहीं रहेगा तो जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन जरूर होगा, लेकिन इनके एब्सेंस, इसके होने से एम्प्लॉय मोटिवेट भी नहीं होगा, क्योंकि मोटिवेशन फैक्टर जो है वो है अचीवमेंट, रिकग्निशन, वर्किंग इट, responsibility, growth and others, right? These are the two factors theory. Now we will go for some contemporary theories of motivation. When I say some contemporary theories, there are a lot of theories in the contemporary theories. ERG theory, it is also called as elders theory. So in ERG theory we will discuss the details. Mackland's theory of need, we will discuss cognitive evaluation theory, goal setting theory, reinforcement theory and equity theory. All these theories are contemporary theories of motivation. Let's go one by one. We'll first go to ERG theory. When I say ERG theory, ERG theory developed by Elder, classified into three categories into hierarchical order. ERG suggests the first is the existence theory, the existence category, the second is relatedness category, and the third is growth category. Alderfer classifies into this category as a hierarchical order. The first is the base, if I say triangle wise, the first is existence category. When I say existence category, it is nothing but a safety needs and the psychological need, as it suggested in Maslow's theory of hierarchy. Second comes the relatedness theory, category. When I say relatedness category, it is nothing but a internal esteemed need and social needs. And the topmost is the growth category, that is self-actualization and the external esteem need theory. Alderfer's ERG theory differs from Maslow because here Alderfer theory says more than one need may be operative at the same time, whereas Maslow says only a simple one need he has assumed. If I talk of Alderfer's ERG theory, if the gratification of higher level need is stifled, the desire to satisfy the lower level need is increased, again which is contradictory to Maslow's theory. And ERG theory does not assume that there existence of rigid hierarchy. He says a person can be working, he can be working on growth, he can be working on the existence or relatedness. So all three categories could be operating at the same time. It is not necessary that simultaneously he should be working. This is what is ERG theory. As said, it is categorized into three parts: existence category, relatedness category, and the growth category. Growth is the topmost, middle is relatedness, and the bottom is the existence theory. We'll move further to Max-Alland theory of need. Mackland's theory of need, which was developed in 1961, this theory primarily focuses on three needs. First is achievement, second is power, and third is affiliation. The first need of achievement, it says every individual has a very high in esteem to derive the satisfaction from each goal. And the feeling of successfulness, task accomplished, is very important to higher achiever. Higher achievers prefer immediate feedback on their performance, and they generally undertakes high level of task and they moderate difficulty rather than the either easy or very difficulty. So these people are very high motivators and they always believe in the achievement. That is what the need of achievement is. Second is need of power. Here, individual, whoever is working in the organization, he depicts a high level of energy, high level of motivation. However, he also wants the authority. He's seeking some power with him. So the second is need of power, and the third is need of affiliation. That is, individual exhibits this need as a dominative motive, derives satisfaction from social and interpersonal activity. That means there is a need for form strong interpersonal ties and to get close to people psychologically. That is why you need affiliation. Okay? So McLean theory first was defined as need of achievement, second is need of power, third is need of affiliation. Correct. We'll go further. Cognitive evaluation theory. Now when I'm talking about cognitive evaluation theory, this theory were proposed by Deci and Ryan in 1985 when extrinsic rewards are used by the organization as a payoff for superior performance. The intrinsic reward which are derived from the individual doing what they like are reduced. Here what happens, the popular explanation is that हर इंडिविजुअल के एक्सपीरियंस लॉस ऑफ कंट्रोल ओवर हिज ओन बिहेवियर सो दैट द प्रीवियस इंट्रिंसिक मोटिवेशन डिमिनिशेस. दैट मीन्स दैट दिस थियोरी, ये थियोरी जो है ये एप्लीकेबल है बहुत लिमिटेड वर्क ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, बिकॉज ज़्यादा करके लो लेवल जॉब कभी भी इनहेरेंटली सेटिस्फाइड नहीं होते हैं. राइट. सो दिस थियोरी ज़्यादा करके ये फोकस करती है उन लोगों के ऊपर जो इंट्रेंसिक रिवॉर्ड, जो इंटरनली रिवॉर्ड की तरफ मोटिवेटेड है, एक्सटर्नल की तरफ नहीं रिवॉर्ड मोटिवेटेड है. दोस आर कॉग्निटिव इवैल्यूएटिंग थियोरी. इफ आई हैव टू एक्सप्लेन इन वर्ड टू वर्ड डेफिनेशन ऑफ कॉग्निटिव इवैल्यूएशन थियोरी, इट इज when extrinsic rewards are used by the organization as a payoff of superior performance. यानी कि जो बाहरी रिवॉर्ड है, बाहर के रिवॉर्ड जैसे कि कोई गिफ्ट दे देना, सर्टिफिकेट, कोई बाहर से गिफ्ट दे देना, नॉमिनेट कर देना कहीं पे, इस तरह के रिवॉर्ड कंपनी यूज़ करती है अपने एम्प्लॉय को सुपीरियर परफॉर्मेंस के लिए. जबकि एम्प्लॉय डिज़र्व करता है कि उसको रिवॉर्ड इस तरह से दिया जाए कि इंटरनल प्रमोशन हो जाए, उसके ऊपर एडिशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डाल दी जाए. जब इस तरह की चीज़ें नहीं यूज़ होती है तो उसे कॉग्निटिव थियोरी कहते हैं. नाउ कमिंग टू गोल सेटिंग थियोरी. गोल सेटिंग थियोरी एज द नेम सेज बहुत ही सिंपल है. गोल सेटिंग थियोरी इज प्रपोज्ड बाय लॉक एंड लैथम. इट इज प्रपोज द चैलेंजिंग गोल प्रोड्यूस हायर लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट देन टू द जनरलाइज गोल. इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल. यानी कि मोर डिफिकल्ट गोल जो हैं, द हायर लेवल ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस विल बी. मोर डिफिकल्ट द गोल, जितना ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट गोल दोगे उतना हाई, उतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस होगा. पीपल विल डू बेटर व्हेन दे गेट फीडबैक ऑन हाउ वेल दे आर प्रपोजिंग टूवर्ड्स द गोल. यहाँ पर व्यक्तियों को इमीडिएट जब आप फीडबैक देते हैं उनका परफॉर्मेंस और भी बेहतर हो जाता है. देयर आर 4 कंटिंजेंसी इन गोल सेटिंग थियोरी. इस गोल सेटिंग थियोरी में 4 कंटिंजेंसी है. फर्स्ट है गोल कमिटमेंट, सेकेंड इज एडुकेट सेल्फ एफिशिएंसी, थर्ड इज टास्क कैरेक्टरिस्टिक, फोर्थ इज नेशनल कल्चर. लेट्स डिस्कस वन बाय वन. सबसे पहली चीज़ जो मैंने बताया आपको गोल सेटिंग थियोरी में, पहली कंटिंजेंसी जो है वो है गोल कमिटमेंट. यानी कि गोल कमिटमेंट थियोरी प्री सपोजेस दैट एन इंडिविजुअल इज कमिटेड टू द गोल. गोल कमिटेड थियोरी, गोल कमिटमेंट में गोल कमिट सेटिंग थियोरी ये सपोज करके चलती है कि इंडिविजुअल सारे के सारे जितने हैं वो अपने गोल के लिए कर्तव्यबद्ध है, वो अपने आप रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, वो खुद करेंगे. सेकेंड, एडुकेट सेल्फ एफिकेसी. सफिशेंट सेल्फ एफिकेसी रेफर्स, अब सेल्फ एफिकेसी का मतलब क्या हो गया? सेल्फ एफिकेसी रेफर्स to an individual's belief that he or she is capable of performing the task. वो कर सकता है, वो हर चीज़ कर सकता है. ये होता है सेल्फ एफिकेसी. सेकेंड कमिटमेंट क्या है, सेकेंड कंटिजेंसी क्या है कि एडवोकेसी, इतनी ज़्यादा उसके ऊपर सेल्फ एफिकेसी नहीं होगी. थर्ड इज टास्क कैरेक्टरिस्टिक, यानी कि इंडिविजुअल गोल सेटिंग डज नॉट वर्क इक्वली वेल ऑन ऑल टास्क. हर व्यक्ति हर टास्क पे कभी भी बराबर नहीं काम कर सकेगा, हर व्यक्ति की क्षमता अलग अलग होती है. एंड द फोर्थ इज नेशनल कल्चर. When I say national culture, goal setting theory is culture bound and it is well educated to the North American culture. It is not for Indian culture. Right? We'll go to reinforcement theory. It's a very simple theory. If I have to explain you, but before reinforcement theory, let me recap for your goal setting theory. What are the four contingency? First is goal commitment. Second is adequate self-efficacy. Third is task characteristic. And the fourth is national culture. That means national culture, goal setting theory is culture bound and it is well adopted only in the North American cultures, not in India right now. Coming to reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory is the theory that reinforcement condition of human behavior. यानी कि according to this theory, behavior is the function of consequences. जो इंडिविजुअल का बिहेवियर है ये कोई फंक्शन है उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस के. बिहेवियर इज एनवायरमेंटली कॉज्ड. इट कैन बी मॉडिफाइड और रीइंफोर्स्ड बाय प्रोवाइडिंग और कंट्रोलिंग कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस. रीइंफोर्स्ड बिहेवियर लीड्स टू रिपीटेड. रीइंफोर्समेंट थियरी कहती है कि हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को या हर इंडिविजुअल को उसके बिहेवियर जो है उसको कोई चीज़ से कंट्रोल करके उसके थियरी को चेंज किया जाए, टाइम टू टाइम उसको रीइंफोर्स किया जाए कि वो एज पर द गोल बिहेव करे. एंड वी आर टॉकिंग फॉर नेक्स्ट इज इक्विटी थियरी. व्हेन आई से इक्विटी थियरी, this theory was proposed by Adams in 1965, which says employee makes comparison of their job input and outcome relative to those of others. यहाँ पर एम्प्लॉय यानी कि जो व्यक्ति जो वर्कर है एम्प्लॉय है वो कंपेयर करता है अपने जॉब के इनपुट और आउटकम से. मैंने क्या इनपुट डाला, मुझे आउटकम क्या मिला. He compares himself and that is called as equity theory. Now there are four referent comparison that employee can use. Equity theory के अंदर एक एम्प्लॉय 4 तरह से अपने रेफरेंसमेंट कंपैरिजन कर सकता है. सबसे पहला है सेल्फ इनसाइड. यहाँ पर एम्प्लॉय अपनी पोजीशन को देखता है कि इंटरनली उसके पोजीशन में क्या चेंजेस आए या किस पोजीशन पे है. नेक्स्ट इज self outside. When I'm talking about self outside, an employee experience in a situation or position outside his or her current organization. अपने आप को वो एक्सपीरियंस करता है, अपनी पोजीशन देखता है और सिचुएशन देखता है बाहर के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से कंपेयर करता है अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को. पहला सेल्फ इनसाइड अपने आप को देख करके बाहर कंपेयर करता था, अब वो सेल्फ आउटसाइड देखता है कि बाहर वालों को देख करके अपने आप को जज करता है. थर्ड इज अदर्स इनसाइड. हियर अदर्स इनसाइड के अंदर अनदर इंडिविजुअल और ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इनसाइड द एम्प्लॉय ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सीज, एंड द अदर्स आउटसाइड दैट इज अनदर इंडिविजुअल और अ ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल who are outside the employee organization will see. Right? So this is equity theory. We'll go further. The next theory, that is expectancy theory. When I say expectancy theory, expectancy theory is one of the most widely accepted explanation of motivator. It was proposed by Victor Froome in 1964. Expectancy theory has its critics, but most of the research is supportive. Although it is a critic, but then there are a lot of things which are very supportive. What it says is motivation is based on people's belief, goals, and linkage between efforts and performance. Performance and reward and individual goal satisfactory. Expectancy theory argues that the strength and the tendency of the act is certain way depends upon the strength of an expectation. Right? There are certain determinant of the motivation theory. First is expectancy, second is instrumentality, and the third is valence. When I say expectancy, we will discuss here the belief that one efforts will positively influence one's performance. एक्सपेक्टेशन मेरी ये है एक्सपेक्टेंसी थियरी में दैट मैं जो करूँगा उसका पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट दूसरे परफॉर्मेंस पे होगा. व्हेन आई से इंस्ट्रूमेंटेलिटी, एन इंडिविजुअल ऑलवेज बिलीव रिगार्डिंग द लाइक्लीहुड ऑफ बीइंग रिवॉर्डेड. एंड द थर्ड, इफ आई से वैलेंस, द वैल्यू ऑफ पर्सन प्लेस द रिवॉर्ड एंड he or she expect to receive from an organization. So first is expectancy, second instrumentality, and the third is valence. We'll move further. Three key relationships in expectancy theory. The first relationship is effort-performance relationship. When I say effort-performance relationship, it is nothing but I am putting my effort and my performance matches to that. There have to be a comparison, relationship between effort and the performance. When I am putting my effort, it has to give the result also. Second is performance and reward relationship. When my performance is good, I am entitled for equal reward relationship by the organization. Organizations reward me for my performance. And the third, reward personal goal relationship is when I am receiving a reward, it helps me in achieving my personal goals. So these are the three key relationships in the expectancy theory. Now we'll go for motivating employee in the organization. It's very important for an organization to keep his employee motivated. Do you agree with me, friend? Because motivated employee can perform better than demotivated employee. Right? That increases the efficiency of an employee also. So every organization should motivate its employee, and essence of motivation can be recognize individual differences. जो अलग अलग differences होते हैं उसको हटा करके equalize कर दो. Use goal and feedback. Include employee in decision making. That can be one thing. Link reward to performance. Okay. Then maintain equity. These are something which you can do for motivating employee in an organization. However, there are certain motivation tools in an organization. Some of the important motivational tools that have been discussed are management by objectives, goal specificity, participative decision making, performance feedback. We will understand all these tools in details now. What do you mean by management by objective? That means management by certain objectives in the mind. That means management by objective is nothing but a participatively set goals that are tangible, verified, and measurable. The four ingredients common to MBO program, that is management objective programs, are goal, specificity, participative decision making, and explicit time period, and performance feedback. Second is goal specificity. When I say goal specificity, the objective is in MBO should be concise statement of expected accomplishment. गोल स्पेसिफिसिटी का मतलब होता है कि मुझे हर व्यक्ति को मेरे कंपनी को पता चलना चाहिए या उसे मालूम होना चाहिए कि मेरा गोल क्या है, कंपनी का गोल क्या है. थर्ड टूल इज पार्टिसिपेटिव डिसीजन मेकिंग. यहाँ पे मैनेजर और एम्प्लॉय जॉइंटली अपना गोल चूज करते हैं और एग्री करते हैं, और कैसे मेजर किया जाएगा उस पर भी एग्री करते हैं. परफॉर्मेंस फीडबैक, ये इसका मतलब होता है कंटिन्यूस फीडबैक ऑन द प्रोग्रेस टुवर्ड्स द गोल. इसके अलावा भी और कई प्रोग्राम होते हैं जो एम्प्लॉय मोटिवेशन टूल्स में आते हैं, जैसे एम्प्लॉय रिकग्निशन प्रोग्राम. यहाँ पर हर एम्प्लॉय को रिकग्नाइज किया जाए उसके इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर, उसके अप्रूवल, उसके परफॉर्मेंस के ऊपर उसे टाइम टू टाइम रिकग्नाइज किया जाए। रिकग्नाइज करने के तरीके अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, जैसे मैंने कुछ कैश अवार्ड दे दिया रिकग्नाइज करने के लिए, प्रमोशन कर दिया, फैमिली बेनिफिट दे दिया। दिस आर समथिंग विच इज़ एम्प्लॉय रिकग्निशन प्रोग्राम। देन वी हैव एम्प्लॉय इन्वॉल्वमेंट प्रोग्राम। यहाँ पर एक एम्प्लॉयर, मालिक अपने एम्प्लॉइयों के साथ मिल करके प्रोग्राम जो भी कंपनी के हैं उसके अंदर एम्प्लॉय के सहभागी, उसके अपनी पार्टिसिपेशन ले करके प्रोग्राम रन करते हैं। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एम्प्लॉय इन्वॉल्वमेंट प्रोग्राम। थर्ड इज पार्टिसिपेटिव मैनेजमेंट। जब मैं पार्टिसिपेटिव मैनेजमेंट की बात करता हूं, इट मीन्स दैट पार्टिसिपेटिव मैनेजमेंट इज द प्रोसेस वेयर subordinate shares a significant degree of decision making power with the immediate supervisor. Then we talk about quality circle. Quality circle consists of the work group of 8 to 10 employees. ज़्यादातर 8 या 10 एम्प्लॉई होते हैं इसमें, और सुपरवाइजर होते हैं, और वो अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शेयर करते हैं. Quality circle is a small group of employees who work voluntary for the company for the betterment of the quality of the product, quality of environment, quality of company. And the next is employee stock ownership program or plans. It is also known as ESOP. ESOPs, that is employee stock ownership plans. Employee stock ownership plans are company established benefit plan in which employee acquires stock as a part of benefit. Like कंपनियां कुछ अपने स्टॉक जैसे शेयर्स वगैरह होते हैं वो अपने एम्प्लॉय को देती हैं. They hold certain ownership of the company. Next is reward system. Reward system, there are two types, extrinsic award and intrinsic award. Reward system का दो तरह के होते हैं, extrinsic reward and intrinsic reward. Extrinsic reward का मतलब होता है जो reward उन्हें environmental surrounding context of the work से दिया जाता है. Like extrinsic awards are the reward received from the environment surrounding the context of the work. It includes direct compensation, indirect compensation, and non-financial reward. In terms of compensation system, this reward fall into two subcategory, pay and promotion या फिर other benefit हो सकते हैं. Intrinsic reward का मतलब होता है, intrinsic rewards are those that individual received for themselves, अपने आप के लिए receive करता है. जैसे additional assignment दे दिया जाए, उन्हें और एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दिया जाए, और एक अपॉर्चुनिटी दिया जाए ग्रोथ के लिए. दैट इज इंट्रिंसिक रिवॉर्ड. राइट फ्रेंड, विल मूव फर्दर. स्पेशल इश्यूज इन मोटिवेशन. देयर आर सर्टेन स्पेशल इश्यू इन द मोटिवेशन. सम ऑफ द स्पेशल इश्यूज इन द मोटिवेशंस आर मोटिवेटिंग द डाइवर्सिफाइड वर्कफोर्स. अब हर एक के वर्कफोर्स डाइवर्सिफाइड है, अलग अलग होते हैं रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. अब इनको सबको मोटिवेट कैसे किया जाए, क्योंकि नॉट एवरीवन इज मोटिवेटेड बाय मनी. हर व्यक्ति पैसे से ही मोटिवेट होता है, ये ज़रूरी नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द नीड ऑफ वुमेन, फिजिकली डिसेबल्ड एंड अदर डाइवर्स ग्रुप आर नॉट द सेम. इफ यू आर गोइंग टू मैक्सिमाइज योर एम्प्लॉयज मोटिवेशन, ऑल यू हैव टू डू इज अंडरस्टैंड एंड रिस्पॉन्स इट डाइवर्सिटी. दिस कैन बी डन बाय, हाउ कैन वी डू दिस? वी कैन डू इट बाय, we should be ready to design work schedule, compensation plan, benefit, physical work settings, etc. based on the person. Second, by allowing employees who are going for further training to colleague to vary their work schedule. It can be done by offering employees facility like childcare, flexible work hours and job sharing, etc. And the another thing can be employees coming from other state countries, provide them flexible leave possibilities so that they can be staying sometime with their families also. Now, how to motivate the temporary worker is again a special issue in motivation. Temporary workers can be motivated in the following way. But temporary, because these are the workers who are not permanent, for only for the short time they are there, or they are very new employee. And the third is to motivate the professionals. Let's understand how to motivate temporary workers. when there is a system whereby permanent employees are selected from the pool of temporary employee, normally होता यही है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, पहले आप टेम्पररी बनते हो फिर आपको परमानेंट कर दिया जाता है. तो जब परमानेंट करने का लालच देते हैं आप उसको उनको, तो वो एक मोटिवेशन फैक्टर है उनके लिए. The ability of temporary employee to find a new job is largely dependent on his own skills. Because if he is looking for a permanent job, he need to have a special skills. So being at the temporary phase, you can train them on a special skills, right? Now, how do we motivate professionals? You can pay for their loyalty towards their profession. You can pay you can send them for training and development for further enhancement. You can give them a responsibility of training their juniors. You can reward them for the educational opportunities, workshop, conferences. You can give them certain additional responsibility, new project. Because professional wants others to think what they are working on important. Therefore, ask them to discuss with them, with their juniors, and motivate them, show them future goals, show their careers in the organization. That's how you motivate our professionals. Any doubts so far? Before we move to the last part, that is summarization. Okay. So if we are through, I can ask you, or we can summarize by asking this. What do you understand by the goal setting theory? What do you understand by goal setting theory? Do you remember we discussed something called as goal setting theory? It was proposed by Locke and Latham, where the proposed challenging goals, and once you propose a challenging goal, the greater the challenging goal, the more better it is, right, for performance. And there are 4 contingency for goal setting theories also. The first was goal commitment. Second was adequate self-efficacy. Third is task characteristic. And fourth is national culture. Very good. And let me ask you the last part of this summarization. What are the concept of MBO? That is management by objectives. MBO and goal setting theory is closely linked. Goal setting theory proposes that tangible goal results in a higher level of individual performance than to do easy goal. So that means management by objective emphasize participatively set goals for the tangible, variable and measurable. And the 4 ingredients common to MBA program are goal specificity, participative decision making, an explicit time period, and performance feedback. Right, friend? Thank you. Thank you for being a good colleague, and wish you a very bright future ahead and a happy learning. Thank you.